You put on a headset and you're transported into a virtual world where everything feels real. It sounds like science fiction, but in today's video, I'm going to talk about some technological advancements that's making this a reality. We're going to talk about 4 main technologies that are making this possible: AI NPCs, brain-computer interfaces, and VR advancements, where I'm going to go off on a little tangent about how we can have a Ready Player One experience right now, and game engines such as Unreal Engine 5. First up is AI NPCs. Imagine this: you're in a massive cityscape, and each NPC, you're able to walk up to them and have a full-on conversation that leads to a brand new branching storyline and story path. And those NPCs are able to interact with each other, creating an ever-evolving and expanding world. Now, I want to highlight 2 companies that are bringing this to life: NVIDIA and InWorld. They're working together to allow creators and developers to integrate chat models into video games so you can have this type of experience. Take a look.
NVIDIA ACE is a suite of technologies that helps developers bring digital humans to life with generative AI. To showcase these latest ACE technologies, we've worked with our partner, InWorld, to develop a new technology demo, Covert Protocol. In this playable tech demo, we showcase how InWorld's platform can be used to integrate AI NPCs with ACE technologies into games.
InWorld is the leading AI engine for games. Our platform unlocks groundbreaking game mechanics and streamlines workflows with AI. The InWorld engine allows game developers to add multimodal AI agents, narratives, and worlds that respond to players' actions. Every player will have a unique experience of Covert Protocol because NPCs dynamically adapt to the decisions and actions they take in the game. InWorld NPCs can perceive the world around them, learn and adapt, deliver nuanced performances, and autonomously initiate actions.
I'm sure he'll be thrilled to receive such a top-secret, life-altering parcel. I'll go confirm it myself. Excuse me. Can you imagine giving a speech without any sleep?
InWorld's perception, cognition, and behavior system work together to power NPC performances in games. It's similar to how the human brain functions. Behind each of these systems, we are orchestrating several models to deliver the responsiveness and emotionally nuanced experiences that developers expect. The Covert Protocol demo takes a modular approach to bringing together the best of NVIDIA and InWorld technologies. We'll leverage NVIDIA ACE microservices, namely Riva ASR and Audio2Face, to augment our speech recognition and animation pipelines.
Shall I try dialing another room for you?
The InWorld engine then orchestrates the characters' voices, animations, and behavior according to their personalities, emotional states, and context.
Game devs can integrate the InWorld AI engine for real-time experiences or leverage our design time and infrastructure solutions at different stages of the development pipeline. We know this demo just begins to scratch the surface of what's possible, so we will also be releasing Covert Protocol's source code. We're excited to see developers take this and make it their own. Show us what you can build using the InWorld AI engine and NVIDIA's ACE microservices.
Next up is BCIs, or brain-computer interfaces. The creme de la creme when it comes to full dive VR. The ability to control everything with your mind without having to lift the finger. Just think it and it happens. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, this technology sounds like it's science fiction or we will never have it. But there are companies who are working on this technology for different use cases, such as people with cognitive and physical disabilities, but it can still be applied to full dive VR. One example that I'm going to show you today is from OpenBCI. Take a look.
Named after my friend Gall, who passed from ALS in 2016, we call it Galia. It's a multimodal biosensing headset, and it is absolutely packed with sensors. It can measure the user's heart, skin, muscles, eyes, and brain, and it combines that capability with head-mounted displays or augmented and virtual reality headsets. Additionally, we're exploring the integration of non-invasive electrical neural stimulation as a feature. Galia software suite can turn the raw sensor data into meaningful metrics. With some of the sensors, we're able to provide new forms of real-time interactivity and control. And with all of the sensors, we're able to make quantifiable inferences about high-level states of mind, things like stress, fatigue, cognitive workload, and focus.
Next up is VR advancements, but I'm gonna go off on a little tangent about how I think we can have a Ready Player One type of experience now, right in the near future. So Meta is going full throttle into the VR space, They have things like Meta Quest 3, which is probably the most powerful VR headset today, and they're creating the Meta Horizon Store, which is basically a parallel to the Oasis.
Where the first of big changes is coming. Meta announced that they are opening the Quest Store, unifying App Lab and the public-facing store into a single app market that will be known as the Meta Horizon Store. Now, that name carries quite a bit of weight, but basically, moving forward, new titles will now directly go to the primary store, and thousands of titles will no longer be hidden. And this change will roll out in phases. The first phase, starting pretty immediately, is that App Lab applications will have their own section of the Horizon Store, but the goal is to eventually have a system much more similar to, say, a phone's app store. All apps in one place under a unified store with a much looser review period. And this is a good change. I'd honestly say that this is a fantastic change, and it's been a long time coming. And I also know that to people that use VR every day, this isn't anything super massive. SideQuest and App Lab are common terms and tools that a lot of people use, but you also got to realize that the mass majority of VR users are simply not aware that all of these thousands of applications even exist. And it's because they've been quite literally hidden from everybody unless you know what you're looking for. Okay, so that was prong one, a new unified storefront with a new name. It's a huge problem that's solved. And that in itself is already a huge deal. The next part, however, is another big thing because it's a complete change of how the Quest operating system works with itself and with other hardware. So there's been a problem plaguing the entire VR ecosystem for the past 10 years or so, and that's become especially evident in the past few. And that's ecosystem fragmentation. And I'm not sure if you've noticed, but the only true decent option if you want an affordable all-in-one VR headset has been the Quest, and it's been that way for years. Now, that's partially because of Meta heavily subsidizing the cost of hardware, making headsets cheaper than any company can afford to sell them, which is great for consumers. But that's also partially because, to be real, Meta is leaps and bounds ahead of any sort of competition in terms of software capabilities. Maybe besides a few fringe cases with Apple and the Vision Pro, but in general, even with their restricted store, the Quest Store is larger and full of higher quality apps than anything else out there by a large margin. And it also turns out that most of them are either Quest exclusive like Beat Saber or built specifically to work with Quest OS and Quest headsets only. So any and all competition that wants to be in this space has to fight basically two battles. One, building and curating their own entire store, and then on top of that, building affordable, decent hardware. Not to mention actually building an operating system. And this whole move just put a giant wrench in all of that. The current Quest operating system ceases to exist. It has now been renamed as the Meta Horizon OS, and they even added little stickers on the box to let everyone know. And as of now, this change seems to be mostly in name, but in principle, this is a massive change for the entire VR industry moving forward, as Meta is now licensing the Horizon OS to outside vendors and hardware manufacturers, so that all anyone else has to do is build their own hardware, and Meta takes care of the entire operating system, SDKs, storefront, basically everything else. And I think from this point, it's pretty safe to say that Horizon OS is bound to become a sort of de facto virtual and mixed reality operating system moving forward, which it already is today. But the difference is that it's going to be ran on non-Meta devices. For example, ASUS announced that they are building a Republic of Gamers VR headset of some sort that is powered by Qualcomm chips and runs on Meta's Horizon OS, and will likely have full access to the entire Horizon store. That has never happened before. Lenovo also announced the same, as Meta and Lenovo have been speaking on some sort of partnership for a long time. And I can imagine these two headsets and from these two manufacturers won't be the only ones. And maybe a company like ASUS can carve out their own hardware market share, which is kind of a crazy thought. That's also not to mention things like highly stripped down devices or specialized versions of the Horizon operating system, like Samsung's own Android wrapper on their phones, for better or worse. But I think one of the most interesting things about both of these moves are the questions it brings up for existing devices and existing companies that have heavily struggled within the space over the past few years. Again, competition with Meta is...
You have companies creating full haptic feedback suits like the Tesla suit, and also haptic feedback gloves.
The Nova 2s can be broken down into 3 key features. First is haptic feedback. The gloves have small motors that vibrate when you touch or interact with virtual objects, giving you the feeling of touching things. For example, if you press and turn a virtual button or dial, the glove vibrates, making it feel like you're really using it. And on top of that, it has a brand new haptic strap that can apply pressure to the palm of your hands as well, adding active contact to your interactions. Pretty cool. Second of all, there's force feedback. When you grab a virtual object like a fruit or tool, the gloves use tiny fish wire mechanisms and magnetic friction brakes to resist your hand movements. This makes it feel like you're gripping something solid, even though there's nothing physically there. The resistance changes based on the size, shape, or texture of the object. And 3 are the tracking sensors. The gloves have sensors that track the movement of your hands and fingers. This allows your real-life motions to be mirrored in the virtual world, making them even suitable for mocap performances.
It's actually a two-piece suit that uses electrostimulation systems to create sensations on the skin, or cause muscle contractions, like when I hold my arm out and it comes flying back towards me involuntarily. Oh!
See, we can actually manipulate the muscles.
I didn't do that. The Tesla suit has 68 haptic points on the body, so I can feel the force of playing a game in VR. It's time to combine the Tesla suit with a VR headset. I'm interacting with a range of objects in this room and feeling what it's like to hold, throw, or get shocked by them.
How does that feel?
This feels very interesting. It feels like sensations running across my wrist and then a little bit on my bicep. Like pins and needles. Oh, it just exploded. Oh, this is a fan. Oh, wow.
So
I put my arm out and it feels like it's getting the sensation from the fan. Wow. And I can kind of see my virtual arm too. Yeah, so it's not super strong. Oh, ow, the closer I get, it's actually pretty strong.
If you pull the...
You're thinking to yourself, that's cool. That's 2 technologies down, but you still need the movement into the virtual world in Ready Player One. The omnidirectional treadmill. Now, we have close parallels to the omnidirectional treadmill, but I wanted to focus on one that I think is even more futuristic and actually available in the real world today. Disney's HoloTiles.
I don't know that anyone's actually fully explained exactly how this thing works yet, but you can see that they're basically walking across a huge number of these tiny 1-inch discs that are spinning on top of their bases like a bunch of tiny treadmills, and then turning to match the direction that you're walking. So obviously a normal treadmill is one direction, right? Just one flat plane moving forward and spinning around, so you always know exactly where you're going. But let's say you want to build a treadmill that's responsive and can go in any direction. Well, a flat treadmill, it would be really hard, right? It would have to spin around quickly to match whatever direction you're walking, which is just kind of insane. So instead, built into the floor is a bunch of articulating cones with discs on top of them with motors inside to spin those discs, okay? And then the key here is the discs are tilted, so only the edge of the disc in the air is the part that's actually touching what's on the floor. So it's less of a flat treadmill and more of a bunch of small blades that are rotating under your feet. So when you walk forward, they spin clockwise to move your foot back to the middle once it's landed. And actually when you walk backwards, they spin counterclockwise to move your foot back to the middle. So no matter where you go, whatever direction you walk, no matter how long or how fast your stride is, it'll always pull you right back to the middle. So I've seen these videos that Disney's put out of this guy walking on it, but we gotta work to get there. So there are 3 ways to control this thing. There's walking on it, obviously, but there's also using a controller, like a PlayStation 5 controller, and there's also just straight up using the force and just pointing at it with your hands. Let's start there. So first we put this Apple box on the HoloTile. And there's a screen up here that shows in real time all of the inputs and what the sensors are seeing both on the floor and around the floor. And they've actually mapped anything that crosses a certain line in front of me to move whatever object is on the floor. So when I move my hand in front of that line, the program moves the floor around to match the movement of the object with the movement of my hand. And this is pretty sick. I assume everyone watching this has seen Star Wars and realizes how dope it would be to have something like this in some sort of Star Wars experience in a theme park. So this is already super cool. But then the first time I actually get on the HoloTile myself is in a chair and with a PlayStation controller. So I am going to be in a chair. Give me the play. And the right joystick controls rotation. So you can spin around and move around freely and actually get pretty quickly used to this thing. And if you're wondering, yes, I can steer myself completely off of the floor. It would let me. I was just kind of trying to be careful to not fling myself off the edge, but it moves so fast. So now after all of that, now that I've experienced how it moves, now they're gonna let me walk on the hollow tile. All right, so we'll still get me. Tiles. Basic full speed and curve, but around and my leg. I noticed a couple things. They're gonna want to work on home. Perfectly straight that are all each of these rigid looks like as they are. Yeah, this takes some getting used to. I know that because I got to hang out with the inventor of the hollow tile, Lanny Smoot. He's been at Disney for more than 20 years. He's got more than 70 patents, including the way the BB-8 rolls around the park, the real-life lightsabers, just to name a few. He's kind of a legend. And yeah, this guy's incredible on it. He was showing me you can have 2 people on it at once. They were playing a multiplayer racing game, like controlling a BB-8 around a course by jogging around, and it seemed to work pretty well. Aside from being pretty small, obviously this would work better if they had more of these floor tiles. But then what I found the most crazy is using this floor with a VR headset on. So this is what you would expect it to be for VR, right? And there's been some other 360-degree treadmill type of videos I've seen, other types of inventions used for VR, and they work, but the one thing that's hard about these, and it's hard to explain through video, but the difference between what your eyes see and what your body and brain feel, that disagreement. So meaning, like, this has always been true. If you think still, they see your body sitting still, but the disagreement between what your eyes see and what your brain feel, that's what can give you motion sickness. That's what feels bad. And so if you think about it, it's the same thing with this moving treadmill in VR. You put the headset on and you start walking and your eyes see that you are walking down a moving hallway, you're moving forward, but your brain, because you're walking in place, doesn't feel that it's supposed to be moving forward. So again, there's a disagreement there. So with the hollow tile, I got to try putting on an Apple Vision Pro and actually walking around a 3D constructed environment. You can't see it, but I'm in like a holodeck in Star Trek or something. And I've got a harness on because it turns out this is really hard. My eyes see the movement and my legs are trying to walk forward and my feet are sliding around, but my walk, all these babies at it. Like he had the headset on, so watch Lanny do it. And he's just incredible at it. Like he had the headset on, he was walking around confidently through space, exploring a virtual world. Pretty sure it's like a virtual Disney theme park type of thing, but that's the type of thing that feels the most like the future. Just free form, exploring some huge space, walking around in the comfort of your own home maybe, and that would be amazing. And if this thing can continue to be developed, maybe, just maybe, can get us closer to that reality someday. Either way, that is definitely dope.
Now for the final, but certainly not least, game engines, specifically Unreal Engine 5. Unreal Engine 5 allows for extremely detailed graphics without being too resource intensive on your GPUs. Unreal also has a dedication towards making it easier for developers and creators to create on the platform, with different plugins and tools such as Nanite, MetaHuman Creator, and even the ability to create ever-expanding seamless open worlds that are procedurally generated, giving you finite control over everything that happens within that world.
So we started by handcrafting that original part of the level to set the visuals and art direction for the entire piece, and then built out procedural tools that allowed the team to create a much larger play space much more quickly. Now let's see how we can use these procedural tools to make larger sweeping changes to the environment. So Jacob, let's start by removing some of the trees in this area.
Absolutely, that's easy enough actually.
All right, a little too much. Let's add some trees back in.
Okay.
And let's also add in some cliff formations, give it a little bit more variability. So the procedural systems are all deterministic, as Jacob is experimenting with different sets of input parameters. Once he finds a set that he likes, he can always go back to it and get out exactly the same result. And the procedural systems aren't just placing trees and rocks, but also fog cards, bugs, birds, everything that's needed to bring this environment to life. And everything that you've seen here works at scale. This environment is 4 kilometers by 4 kilometers. If we hide all of the procedural elements, we can see that original hand-built area, about 200 meters by 200 meters. We believe that there will always be the need for hand-building environments, so we designed these procedural systems to be tools for artists that work in concert with hand-built content. Both Substrate and the new procedural tools will be available in experimental form in 5.2. And everything you've seen here is running in the Unreal Editor in real time on a developer machine with an Intel 13900K CPU and NVIDIA RTX 4090 GPU. So Jacob, thanks for being here and helping us out today.
Thank you very much, Nick, for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Unreal Engine 5 and other engines that come to try to dethrone it are going to be the main workhorse for VR systems. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention, Unreal Engine 5 even has plugins for VR games and VR creation. So to wrap this video up, we have a lot of technology that's advancing at the right time that's making me think we can have a full dive experience in the future pretty soon. And also with companies like Meta going full dive into VR, pun intended, we can have a Ready Player One type of experience soon. But anyways, let me know in the comments if you agree, if you're excited, or if you think I'm completely wrong and we're still far away. But like and subscribe for more content if you enjoyed.